Okay, as we all know, this is a walkthrough video, so I won't call it actually a tutorial. Okay, I have opened the image into camera raw and I'm going to correct horizontal and vertical perspectives. I would like to do some settings here actually. As you can see, while I'm doing black, white and highlights, I'm holding Alt so that I can see exactly how much to go for. It's good idea to try white balance auto and as short. Sometimes auto helps and it corrects the white balance if necessary. But in this case, I think as short is okay. So we'll click OK to accept the changes. Okay. Now I'm going to select the other image and opening it into camera raw, and then I'm going to do the same again, correcting vertical and horizontal perspectives, because I'm going to drag and drop that image later on onto the original, I mean, well, not original, but on this image actually, so they both will match. Now I'm selecting the area of the floor from the foreground because I want to put that patch at the front to match the whole image, the whole floor. You can drag any corners to make it either large or small, and then click enter to accept the changes. You can always reduce opacity to see what you are doing, and then later you can increase it to 100% when you finish. Okay, now I'm selecting the floor area by selecting one of the selection tool. It is your choice actually which tool you want to select. I have selected the poly. Select it and then feather it by 20 and then click OK, and then click the mask icon, which will create the mask automatically, and then invert it, and then select the actual layer next to the mask, and then you'll have to select a soft black brush once you adjust the location of it, and then select the mask itself and brush it off on the sides to merge or rather blend it properly. It is good idea actually to change opacity now and then so that it doesn't look so hard or patchy. Okay, I'm creating hue saturation to match the floor color with the existing one. This is only if needed be. If you don't think it is needed, then you can ignore it. Okay, now I'm reducing the opacity a little bit to match the existing floor. Of course, you have to select the main floor layer, which we copy and paste. Okay, then I duplicated the background layer and I changed the sequence of the layer mask. And then I applied sharpness by going to filter, sharpness, and unsharp mask. And then just clean up the edges by selecting a black brush with 100% opacity. Okay, I created the composite snap by holding Shift, Alt and Command or Control and then E, which will give you a new layer. And then I created new blank layer on top because now I wanted to create floor joints. But before that, I'm cloning some of the area which was a little different in between the existing floor and the patch one. So I'm actually cloning that first. I didn't really like too much, so I undo it. What I did is actually I duplicated the floor layer and adjusting the bottom layer to fill the blank area in between the new patch and the existing floor. Once I adjust it properly, I will click enter or the tick above. Okay, now select the mask and then brush and then make sure if there is any adjustment to be done. Okay, now the top layer, I don't think I need that anymore. So what I'm going to do it, I'm going to delete it and I create new composite snap by holding Shift, Alt, Command and E. And then create a new layer above it for the floor joint I was talking about. Then select a brush tool and select a right color for the joint by holding Alt. If you hold Alt, you will see color picker, and then there you are, and then you select the color you want for the joints, and then reduce the brush size to, I think it was 2 pixels or maybe 3, and then draw the line while holding Shift. If you hold Shift, your line will go straight. I am creating 3 joints, but 3 lines rather for the joints. And then I'm going to apply a bit of a blur, Gaussian blur. And then it'll be a good idea, I think, to reduce a bit of opacity as well. Yeah, now that we have drawn the joints line, yeah, I'm not quite happy with the color of the lines, so I'm actually correcting the color by applying hue saturation. Make sure to clip that layer, otherwise the changes will affect the whole image, which naturally we don't want. But if you are happy with the color you already have, then you don't have to go through this step. Once you are done, you can reduce opacity to make it look natural rather than too dark. Then what I've done is I've selected the joint layer, and then I have selected the blur tool to blur line a little bit, because the whole floor actually is a little blurred, it's not too sharp, so the joint has to be a little blurred too. And then if you want to reduce the opacity, you can do so a little bit. Yeah, not much, but maybe little. That is if it is required. It is always good idea to name your layers. I always do that so that you know exactly what you're doing. Okay, then I have selected the floor area, and I have blurred it, feather it rather. And then I'm applying curve to make it little dark than what it is, so that it looks in fact it matches with the existing image. Okay, now is the time, I think, to drag and drop the other image onto this one, because we want that window thing. Then you create a mask next to the top layer, and then select a black brush and blend it nicely. You may have to reduce opacity now and then. Actually, I have used the gradient tool because gradient tool does a very good job than a brush. So I have selected gradient tool with 15%, 10 to 15% opacity. You can reduce or increase opacity as you wish anyway. And then keep on pressing X if you have to reverse your process. And then blend it nicely. Naturally, I'm not doing 100% job here. Okay, once you do that, you create a composite snap again. And then you select the window part, and then you provide a bit of sharpness. Then you create a composite snap again and then convert it into smart object, and then apply shadows highlight. Okay, now again I'm selecting the floor area, and then Control and J to make copy and paste of the same area, and then provide a sharpness a little bit. In fact, apply sharpness, not provide. Then you flatten the image because we are almost done. I am going to apply edge sharpening to this image, which you don't really have to go through if you don't want to. I thought I will go through. What this will do is it will provide edge sharpening overall. Now I am trying to create the reflection of the window as well as some of them statues inside. So select that area, feather it by 10, 20, whatever you think is right, and then go to edit, transform, and then flip vertically, and then drag it down while holding shift, and then reduce the opacity to make it natural, and then create a mask next to it, and then select a black soft brush with, I would say, around 50% opacity, or maybe a little less or more, whatever you think is right. In short, it has to be looking natural, and then blend it